Yeah, could we have lights down, potentially? Excellent. Hello, everyone. I'm Adele Levine, and my senior year project was focused on long-distance running in high school, and specifically which factors influence the success thereof. So I'd like to start out with a personal anecdote to show, how I got into this. So it's my freshman year. I'm kind of impressionable youth, and I'm at state relays, which is this huge meet, dozens of teams from around the state, and we're all huddled in the corner. It's the very end. We're awaiting the results. It's the seniors' last meet. Everyone's really nervous and excited, and the loudspeaker comes on, and it turns out we lose by 1 point. And so I'm fine with this. I'm all wrapped up in the excitement, but all the seniors start bawling their eyes out, and I'd never seen someone be so affected by, the outcome of a sport, and specifically a running event. So that was one of the things that really influenced me to think, I've seen many people be very affected by this, and I know personally I've been elated or completely disappointed after, good and bad races. So I thought this is something worth exploring. So my project had 2 parts, a research paper and a 5K to organize. So first part was the research paper. The big 3 kind of helped me organize this, but at first I had to define success because I wasn't really sure what it meant to different runners. So I administered a survey to 16 members of the Newton North High School track and field team. And interestingly enough, over half said that success to them meant setting or equaling a personal record or constant improvement over the season. All of the other answers also had to do with progress. So I kind of based my exploration around how to make this progress, how to make this change. Of course, the topic was the science of success because I'm personally interested in science, so I wanted to marry running and science. So my question was, what physiological and psychological factors contribute to a high school runner's success? And I found, after much research, well, people are different, so it depends. The long answer is that due to the highly individualized nature of running, you're running on your own. It's really against yourself more so than against other people because only you can improve your own performance. Each athlete is influenced by a different combination of factors, including genetics, strength, speed, endurance, form, flexibility, how much recovery you take, what kind of recovery you take, and motivation, focus, ability to cope with pressure, and confidence. You'll notice that there are 2 categories, the physiological and the psychological. So instead of telling you about my research, I thought I'd provide an example. This is Susanna Gleason, and this picture from state relays of this year. This is the first leg of the 4x-mile, and you'll notice that Susanna Gleason has excellent running form. Her arm is bent at a 90-degree angle, and she lands directly above, her foot lands directly below her. So her center of gravity is, focused right on the hips, which increases mechanical propulsion forward a lot. Also for breakfast that morning, she had a piece of whole wheat toast. Whole wheat grains in general have a low glycemic index, which means they're catabolized more slowly, which means they provide a longer source of energy. Also, her motivation for that day was extrinsic, meaning coming from outside, and intrinsic, in that the rest of her relay team was expecting her to perform well. So she was running to appease them, and also it was one of the last meets of the season, so she wanted to run a PR to improve her season best time. I can talk about, her training before this point, leading up to this point, which is a combination of long distance runs to improve muscular endurance and, improve how much oxygen could be taken from the blood to, again, fuel the process of running. And workouts, which increase muscular coordination during races such as these. Also, Suzanne is pretty genetically gifted in that, although she is a woman, which means she has smaller lung capacity and shorter legs in general compared to men, she's gifted with, a large ratio of legs to torso, which increases stride rate. And so this is based on something. I had a combination of primary and secondary research. Primary research mainly including interviews with people very knowledgeable in their field, coaches, elite athletes, sports psychologists, nutritionists, et cetera, and the survey administered. And secondary research such as books, online articles, websites, et cetera. And this brings me to the second part of my project, the fieldwork. I wanted to kind of give back to the running community for everything it had done for me. So I'm organizing a 5K. All of the proceeds go towards Shoe for Africa, which is a nonprofit organization dedicated to empowerment through sports education and raising awareness about HIV and AIDS in Africa. Their current big project is building the first, the biggest public children's hospital in Africa. So there are two parts, organizing it and actually going through with it. The organization part included lots of logistics about where the event would be, Cold Spring Park, when it would be, July 10th during the summer, after the school year is through, and the length of the race, which would be a 5K. I chose these because it was something that I was most comfortable with, because that kind of follows the formula of our cross-country races. So I'm basing it a lot off of that. And so I therefore have a large pool of athletes to draw from already, because it's easy to contact everyone from cross-country and say, hey, this is just like that, but later. So it's comfortable and it goes towards a good cause. My goal is around 100 runners, again, from North and South track teams. Also runners from the Newton community, definitely welcome. All ages, all abilities. Getting permission was really important and much more difficult than I anticipated. I had to kind of petition and make a presentation at Newton Parks and Rec, just go through a lot of red tape, but that's through with, and now my race will actually happen, which is exciting. And so I had to put together a budget. I'm in the process of finding sponsors, which just entails going around to different businesses in the Newton Center, Newton Highlands area, and asking, could you donate 5 dozen bagels and water? So, and promoting my race. I'm currently designing a flyer, which will be, up around the school, up around the community, around different parks and in restaurants, et cetera. That's just a map of Cold Spring Park. The race involves 2 loops around the Healthy Heart Trail. It's essentially exactly what our cross-country course is. And therefore, coaches and managers can help with the timing thereof and the setting up of cones. This is my budget. There's just trying to make it very low cost, because again, all the money will be donated to Shoe for Africa. So, getting sponsors to donate food is very important. Facilities, porta potties, trash cans, advertising, very low cost. So, and also there are things to do the day of the race, such as registering people who show up and who show up on site and want to sign up, doling out water and goodie bags with a list of sponsors, et cetera, and a granola bar. During the race, there are just administrative things to take care of, timing people, providing water in the race. A medical assistance personnel will be on hand there, Bill McAndrews, who's the athletic trainer at North. And after the race, awards given out to top 3 finishers, male and female, in each age division, just to provide an incentive, motivation, and food and general festivities. So that is what I did. This is my survey also. which was cited beforehand. I don't know if it showed up on the screen slightly, but it was an open-ended survey, and I just had runners fill out as much as they wanted to fill out and to the best of their abilities, and my sources. That's it. Thank you. Questions? Here. Oh, boy. Yes. Hi,
the race sounds really cool and exciting. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about how the research and the race connect together.
Sure. I was planning to have some portrayal of my research at the race, whether it be like a flyer I could give out or an informational poster. I didn't want to force things upon people, you know, if they just, I mean, the race is really about having fun and running for a good cause, but if people were interested in my research, I will definitely have something there to represent it. Like maybe a shorter PowerPoint or something to go there.
So before you started the research, did you have some kind of hypothesis or some expectation that you were surprised to see confirmed or
denied? I was not aware how large a part the psychology of it played in. I was expecting to find the like, well, if you run quickly a lot, it will be easier in the future. But I really had no idea about kind of the scope and breadth of everything I found. Also, how much genetics played a role. You know, I mean, personally, I wanted to believe, like, if you think you can do it, you can, which is true, and it's different for everyone. But genetics does play a very large role, what your body makeup looks like. So
it's less hard work than emotion and body.
It depends for everyone. In my survey, I found many varying viewpoints. Some people said, like, you know, this is completely based on how psyched out I am before a race, how nervous I am before a race. And some people said, you know, I could be completely ready, but if I haven't trained really hard the week before, you know, I fall apart. So.
Did you look at all amongst those factors at experience? Like you had said, like being a freshman versus seeing the seniors, and did that factor in at all in terms of the success, or was anyone more likely to succeed if they'd been there before, if they'd been running for longer in their life?
It's an interesting question. Not particularly. I mean, I found that people with more experience generally were more aware of the factors in general, and therefore, like, could cater around them. Like, the seniors that I surveyed did, like, nutrition, for example. A lot of the younger runners on the team were like, no, like, you're supposed to take that into consideration? Like, no, I just eat whatever. But a lot of the older members were like, yeah, I really think about, you know, getting protein and carbohydrates and fats into every meal and what to eat before a race, etc. So.
It sounds like you have a busy summer with your race, but if you have a chance to come back to this topic again, do you have a sense of where you'd like to go next with?
I'd like to do a case study, perhaps not on myself, but on someone, and see, you know, after explaining what I found out and how they could make progress, see if they actually could make progress.
What has been the either most unexpected or biggest challenge you had organizing the race?
Organizing. Just the fact that in order to coordinate any type of event, you have to get permission from everyone that would ever have anything to do with it, really. Which is logical, but I was surprised. Like, my friends put on a running type of event at Cold Spring Park before, and I don't think they went through the same process at all. So I thought it was going to be much easier, just like email this person, hey, is it okay if I use the field at this date? But no, it was a much more intensive process than that, so that was hard. Anyone else?